Hey guys, how you doing? It's Kanai once again, Start Living Community. Just want to say thank you for your support for those that have purchased your Start Living t-shirts. Just to let everyone know that haven't purchased yet that when you do purchase a Start Living t-shirt, Start Living Community t-shirt, what you're actually doing, you're helping our organization to help to provide needs to those that are less fortunate. So part of the proceedings from the sales of the t-shirt goes towards helping those that are in need. So it would be greatly appreciative. And it also makes a statement to the world that you're no longer existing, but you actually started living. So thank you once again for your support and your continual support. And for those that haven't purchased and are interested in purchasing a t-shirt, you can DM me and I'll definitely direct you on how we can obtain your t-shirts. We have it in all different sizes. So definitely, we do appreciate all that you have done so far for those that have supported and those that are going to be a part of the community in the near future. We thank you. That being said, I want to thank you and I just want to share some insight about soul loss. Soul loss. And soul loss is when you have, well, what I like to call it, is when you have lost some part of you as a result of trauma, as a result of going through something traumatic in your life that have impacted you in a way that you weren't able to cope with it. And as a result of trying to cope with it, you had to resort to some level of drastic measures. And as a result of that, you have lost part of yourself. And you don't realize that this void is there until you start to see the symptoms. And some of the symptoms can come out in many different ways. And it's something that happens to a lot of people, especially that have been in abusive relationships or have been sexually abused, especially by people that they know, and they don't no longer know how to cope with that experience, and they tend to mask it real well. And for a lot of parents also, it's kind of a situation, man, where I for myself had experienced this just recently, and just talking with my children and understanding, some of the things that they have suffered in their youth as a result of me not seeing or overlooking or identifying that these issues were there. So for kids and for a lot of us that might have suffered those traumatic situations at a younger age, what tends to happen is that we find ways, or children find ways to mask their feelings and their emotion because they new to this life and experience. So certain things they don't know how to process. So they internalize it and they find alternative ways and means of dealing with those issues that is really difficult. So most of it, they try to blame themselves for it, like a divorce, or if something happened, they'll say, okay, well, as I put myself in that situation, so I have to punish me. And hence they would start to look at themselves a certain way or carry themselves a certain way and so forth. So, just to deal with that. But for an adult, a lot of times those pieces and voids that are there, we might realize it now when the symptoms starts to show. And the symptoms starts to show where you might find yourself developing some compulsive behavior or some behavior where you constantly might be in the need of someone, or you might find yourself purchasing a lot of clothing and so forth, to glamorize yourself, to feel good about yourself, because deep down within yourself, you don't really love yourself. So you figure the more you mask it by buying a whole lot of trinkets and clothing and doing a lot of extra activities that somehow you wouldn't notice it and nobody else would notice it. And you continue the facade for as long as you can until that facade is no longer available. Then you're right back to baseline of trying to deal and cope with that situation. So the thing is that it's a very complex thing. It's hard to do like a 2 or 3 minute video touching the whole thing, but it's just to recognize that, we all might be suffering from some level of soul loss or some void within ourselves. And it's to tap into that and to understand what is it that might be causing it, and how is it might be affecting us. And some of us too, that it might be so devastating for us that we choose to erase it out of our memory and pretend to act like it's not there. But it's there because you might see some of the symptoms, like I said, and these symptoms now can poke its head in many different ways, and a lot of times you would see it poking its head where the lack of self-love, if we can see that. So some of the symptoms could be like for someone that might have lost someone or the death of a parent or so forth. You might end up losing part of yourself or a zeal for life. You might not have that spark or that fire that you once had. And for that, you're a little more calm or you're a little more reserved, and you might become a little more introvert because that void now, you don't know what and how to fill it. For someone that might have been sexually abused at a younger age, you might gravitate to more lewd sexual behavior, or you might not enjoy sex at all. So these are some of the symptoms of the traumatic situation where you lose yourself. Now you have to find a way to fill that void. If you've been in a relationship where you've been betrayed by someone you gave your heart to and you fell in love with them, you might have trust issues. You might question everything, or you might develop a lot of insecurities to where you might start to question yourself, or you might build a wall around your heart and you don't want to let anybody in. So now these are the things that, you need to look at for your mental health. And, if you're going to be if you're in a relationship or you're planning on being in a relationship, these are some of the issues that you have to work out within yourself, So to get on the board of get on the ball, to start living, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to want to address these things and confront them. So now that you can put them in a place, and now you can start living again, and hopefully that you have a supportive partner that if they weren't the cause of that traumatic situation, that they can be supportive and encourage you to take the necessary steps. So if you need some professional help, get it. If you might need some spiritual guidance from your pastor or someone that you trust, do so. But we here at Start Living Community, we also provide some consultation, or some advice, some light counsel, nothing heavy, and in hopes that at least to point you in the right direction to keep you or to get you back on track. So this is Kanai once again. I want to thank you for all your support once again, and until next time.